Hey everyone, today we're with Caspar and we're going to have this short interview to talk about his personal experience in the green tech sector, along with his insights on diversity and inclusion. I'm very happy to be with you, Caspar, today.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dominica, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
yeah, just a little bit of context. Caspar is actually my colleague, so I think this will be more of a personal interview than the other one, so I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so I would like to start off by asking you if you could talk a little bit about your background and your journey into the world of business and green tech and venture capital.
Mm. Yeah, that's a very good question. So I just started with my bachelor degree in administration while working for an investment bank. So the objective was just to understand more about the financial industry before you really want to make an impact. That was my initial thought, and it went well to some extent. And then I had had the chance to collect some experience in M&A, and then I was very close to work for a hedge fund in New York City. But somehow, because of COVID-19 pandemic, this all has impacted us seriously. So this was a great moment to reflect the life completely, to ensure that you can align with your passion, which has been always climate, space, and disability and inclusion. So this is why I decided to go to the UK to study finance investment with the focus on impact making, like the nexus between climate and space, disability, and inclusion. Yeah, and then one day I came across my boss, and we started chatting and learned more about his what he is doing there. So now I've been working almost 2 years at G-Force doing climate tech related investments. So it's pretty important for us because we are running out of time in terms of addressing climate change. This is why we are looking for startups who are very hungry to make a real impact. Yeah. So that has been my life. Of course, there are some other stories, but I would like to clarify it was not quite easy to go this approach because having a disability is pretty tough. So we having a disability is like being a minority. So and it takes a lot of stamina, sacrifice to make, and etc. But we can talk more about that if you like.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a second. Before that, I would just like to ask for you, because you mentioned that climate and space and disabilities have always been your passion, but like with the former, with climate, kind of why do you think that is, and like kind of what inspired you to really like put all your efforts into this topic?
So what really triggered me to become more passionate about climate has been related to my childhood past. I spent a lot of time in nature, and then one day I could recognize a slight change happening there. Weather was changing for crazy. I could not see a lot of insects anymore, or more people turned beautiful ecosystem in Arabian lands, and it was quite shocking to see. And then there was also a big moment that really shaped my mindset on the overall world, was the plantation led by Al Gore, the former vice president of the States. So this was one of the most important events that really shaped my mindset on that aspect.
Yeah, I can really see your connection with nature also with your background on the screen.
Yeah, it's really good, right?
Yeah, it's really pretty. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Now, yeah, we can delve a little bit more into your experience, and I would like to ask what challenges you faced due to your hearing impairment and kind of how you've overcome them in your professional life. You said it wasn't always easy. If you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, to be honest, a big chunk of my life was like being deaf, so it's just entering the hearing world was quite challenging because there are different rules that you need to apply. So 10 years ago from now, I decided to get the first cochlear implant just to test out whether I could make it. Even though doctor said, you have no chance. Your chance are really low. But I was really motivated and did not give up. Really I gave all my energy I had. And it really worked out to some extent. But there are still limitations, a lot of limitation. For example, when I wanted to my bachelor degree, it was not very easy to say, okay, I could go to a private school or to a public university because they did have not that advanced concepts to ensure that people having a disability can participate in these courses. So it was pretty difficult, and then you also had to engage with a lot of people to ensure that you get the necessary resources. But it was a roller coaster, and so this is why I decided to do a long distance university. It was pretty good because I was being sent materials. So I had the chance to see what is going to happen to me on weekend when I'm going to study, and especially the classes were really small. It was like up to 10 people. It was much better because it's also not only benefited me but also them, because they could raise some questions, and we had more chance to collaborate together, and it was pretty fun. But nowadays, it's still the case that having a disability is pretty tough for many people because they are different,
Yeah.
And people I don't want to exclude, but people having no disability have expectation that to be exactly to be a non-disabled people, and this is something that need to be completely changed, because people having a disability have really superpowers, and this is pretty awesome, which is unfortunately not recognized so far. So
yeah. What's your personal superpower?
For example, I'm really good at reading faces. So I would not consider myself a psychologist. But for example, if you're deaf, you cannot hear, you cannot speak. So you heavily rely on the facial expression of the lips, for example, and the way they communicate. And if you have that experience, it's so much easier for you to determine whether a person has a nice personality or not.
And also the intentions or something that I guess could also come in handy, like when you're making investments and everything, when you meet with the founders, perhaps.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So you talked a lot about your kind of academic experience and struggles in the academic world, and has it been similar also in the professional environment, like at work, or how has like the working environment made it easier, or like what are kind of the adjustments in here?
So I was really scared to work for a company 5, 6, 7 years ago, because I was really scared of telephones. So just taking the phone and receiving the information from some people without understanding these people clearly, because my hearing ability was still in the progress to improve. But it's not the case if you are getting a cochlear implant that is completely replacing your hearing loss. So it's just ensuring that you can hear something, but you are still restricted, and many it depends on the person's hearing ability. It's a bit complicated, but coming back to your question, it's like if the phone is ringing and you have to take it and you don't understand it, it causes so much pressure.
Yeah.
And you know, because of COVID-19 pandemic, everything has changed impact significantly. For example, now we have these online meetings, and I can unlock the caption function. It's so much easier for me. This was really one of the biggest moments for me to be quite motivated. You know, to ensure, okay, maybe I should work for a company where I could start having online calls or running the business through these online calls,
Yeah.
meetings, sorry. And then in time, if I might have a better feeling how to engage with people in teams, then I could meet them in person, which is really happening. So I'm very happy about that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Really cool. Yeah. That's like a really unintended consequence of COVID, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So it's a super big coincidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to ask that, in your experience, how does diversity and inclusion contribute to innovation and success in the business world, and particularly in green tech?
Oh, I think a lot, to be honest. You know, if you're a woman, if you're either from Africa, Asia, whatever, or if you are a gay person, or if you are a person who has a disability, they all have a very different experience. You know, and unfortunately, it's the case that we all are confronted a lot of challenges. We are not always accepted by many,
Yeah.
but at the same time, if you accept these challenges, hurdles, whatever you call it, you gain so much invaluable experience, and this can be applied in the business world. For example, when we have calls with founders and they think they really struggle, we can bring with our innovation, with our experience to improve the innovation part, for example. Or if you work for a big corporation and you see something is strange, is not working, and you see teams are not working quite good. For example, if you go to a conference room, and you know, the moment if you enter the conference room, there are a lot of people talking, but even for people who have not a disability or like a hearing impairment, they still suffer because they cannot clearly concentrate on the content of the conversation because everyone is talking. So
Yeah.
for example, there's a nice technique saying, okay, if I enter with my disability in that conference room, I say, if you have the stick in your hand, that person can talk. And they get so confused, you know, and in time they cope with their technique. And then it's pretty fun, you know, because they realize it's so much better for us. We can better focus on the conversation and make the conversation more productive. Even though it takes for some people more time to adjust the new approach. Yeah. So this is a kind of a experience, or for gay people, they are sometimes very creative. So this is why some of them are really good in fashion. It's not. It's just a point to make. Of course, there are many different sectors where they're really good at. Or for example, I think that blind people could be the better lawyer you can have because they cannot read, but they are really good at remembering remembering stuff. And what I also believe is they might be really good people at sales because
Okay.
this is my opinion, and they have a much better feeling for different things. They're really good at reading the lines between. Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so these are a few examples. Of course, there are many more.
Yeah, and it's of course always like very fruitful to have a conversation for people with other backgrounds because it makes it so much more fruitful. Yeah, I would like to ask now, how can the business world be more inclusive of individuals with, for example, hearing impairments or other disabilities?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I believe they should pay more attention to these people by inviting them. It's just, let's say, to run some workshops and to do some brainstorming, whatever. You know, when I went to the UK, I was the only guy who had that disability, and it was pretty tough. You know, I had to speak like 20 people just to get a captioner, just to get just to ensure that I get the very important resources, just to get access to spoken information. This is all what I need. But if I don't get it, this is pretty tough, you know, because you have to spend a lot of time on that. And I spent like just to ensure to get the resources like weeks, months. It was crazy, and this is something that really made me really sad about that. But you know, if you're a minority, you have not a big impact to make. You have to fight until you get your resources. There was also a very interesting case. There was a nurse. She is completely deaf, and she decided, I really want to study medicine. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But doctor said, no, you can't. You need to hear. How do you want to do that? But she was so strong, tenacious. I think a bit more than me, and I was so inspired by her. And she started studying medicine. I think she is still, but it's crazy. I mean, if you're deaf but still do surgery stuff, or I don't know what her focus in medicine is, whatever. But I think everything is possible. It's all about the resources you need to strive for.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, yeah, that makes sense. You kind of just have to go out of your way. So, yeah, other people should make the way a bit shorter and a lot easier for sure. That makes sense. You also mentioned at the beginning some workshops. I just wanted to have like a clarifying question to that. Do you mean like workshops for visibility for other people, or what kind of workshops you had in mind?
You know, I think these workshops should be dedicated for the top manager of business school. Because if you really want to make impact, it's like not a bottom-up approach, it's rather a top-down approach. You know, if you really train these people, okay, this is something what they need. If you raise that awareness, what kind of resources the people having a disability need for in order to participate in that business school, for example. They need to be trained. They need to be aware of what kind of challenges we are facing. Because if you don't give them the reality, what we are facing every day, they have no idea what to do. You cannot blame them. Okay, I never blamed my head of business school that she was really bad at ensuring that I had not the proper resources to get access to spoken information. It's just, you know, you just need to change the communication at the business school or university institution. And it's really important to create some workshops or courses where you can enable these people to get that training if you really want to make an impact, or to ensure that people having a disability get the resources to study.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to ask what advice you'd give to aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those with disabilities who want to break into the green tech industry.
Oh, that's a very good question. So never give up. Really never give up. You know, for us, it's very, for everyone, it's very easy to give up. But if you are very passionate about something, just go to your way wherever you want to go. It's very important to go to events. What I highly recommend to look at these events where you think that the quality is pretty good, or reach out to people who are in that sector, who have a good, a decent experience. Because for these people, it's also very good to see if they get some requests from people who are really interested in a specific sector, like green tech, climate tech. They're really open for coffee chat. This is something that really has helped me. If you want to explore something more, coffee chat are really nice. Because this is one of the most beautiful ways where you can connect with people and have a very random chat. It's not very like a business conversation. It's super simple. And sometimes it can be that case. It can be one of your best friends or your future husband, future woman, whatever. And I'm just kidding. But this is the way how you can connect with people who have that big exposure in that space. Another thing is that you can take up some courses. But before you do that, you should better have some coffee chats. So then you get a better understanding in which kind of direction you could better go if you want to accumulate more knowledge in a specific area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, networking is for sure very important.
Yeah,
Now I'd like to delve
networking is super
more.
important.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'd like to delve more into the startup world and investment and those kind of things. And I would like to ask what key qualities or factors do you look for in startups and entrepreneurs when deciding where to invest?
So let me explain to you what we are doing here at GeForce. So we are looking for startups, founders who have first a scalable technology. The second is they have a direct impact on lowering greenhouse gas emission. This is what we are looking for. To differentiate whether a founder might be not in our sweet spot or a potential candidate to invest in, or to be a candidate to invest in. So I think there is not a, let's say, yeah, sorry, I just forgot the word. Done matter. So there's not a specific type of founders. It's not to say, okay, a founder who had a lot of experience at Google or SAP or Microsoft could be the next unicorn. That's wrong. That's wrong. So even if you are a founder with a disability, you have a very good chance to become very successful. Because there are a few cases where I've seen founders who are now billionaires, whatever you can call. But coming back to your question, so it's important that they are passionate about something. If you spot something in that founder's personality, that they are extremely passionate about something, then you have a good feeling that there might be a good investment. So let me explain to you something. When it comes to early stage investment, and the first 3 years is all about the founder's background, personality, whether they are motivated, whether they are passionate about something, whether they really want to address something to solve a problem. If you hear a founder saying, "Oh, we really want to make money," and then you say, it won't be a good fit for us. There was a company, very interesting. This was 2 months ago. I was really impressed by seeing their pitch deck and the way they want to solve a solution within the climate change topic. But then when he said, "Oh, we are here to make a lot of money," and I was like, "No." So this is I mean, if you're really passionate about something, money will be following you. If you are really obsessed to make an impact and don't think about the factor money, this is something we are looking for. But if you're saying we are opening a business just to make money, it won't be the case. Of course, that's you're right. Of course, everyone who's making business is required to earn money. But if making money is your only objective, it's not the case that you can address climate change very soon. Because we are facing a real issue here, we are running out of time, and we really need an innovative solution to address that climate change issue to prevent us from a climate disaster. Every day we are waking up, we are a day closer to that climate disaster. And unfortunately, a lot of people, because corporations do not make a significant contribution to that. We still see a lot of oil and gas companies destroying our beautiful planet, and they're so blinded by capitalism, and it's really bad to see. But what I would like to make here, the point when it comes to investing in founder, it's all about their personality, that you think they have the moonshot to make, that they really want to address climate change, and second is that you wish you have the feeling you can really work with them. And after 3 years is all about what they have made in terms of or what they have achieved in terms of making traction, customer-facing traction, for example, and then in time how much of that market they were able to capture. So there are many different things in that process, but at G4 we are doing the first aspect.
Yeah, so it's very, very people-centric approach here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you have any further questions regarding this, let me know.
Yeah, of course. Okay, now I would like to ask, what do you think are the most critical challenges that green tech startups are facing today?
So it depends. For example, in Europe, a lot of climate startups have the issue to deal with the very big regulation system happening across Europe. It's a very fragmented area we have, unfortunately. In the UK, might be much better, but it depends on the situation. For example, in Germany, it's crazy, and in France, the same. And in Italy, crazy. But I think hopefully it's going to be change one day, not tomorrow or whatever, but I hope it's going to be changed. So for example, if you have climate tech startup where you apply a lot of artificial intelligent technology, this might be also very it's just difficult. It's just because, for example, the European government, they put a new law to restrict the technology to some extent to ensure that data privacy, whatever, will be remain confidential, and to respect consumers' privacy, etc. but it's a bit complicated. For example, if you start your business in the States, it's much easier because American people have that attitude to be visionary. This is something we are kind of lacking here in Europe. Not everyone, but you see, for example, Germany, that's the case to some extent, unfortunately. But it's just the culture of the countries. But if you're a company or a founder who is very visionary, and you stick to your plan, you really want to make sure that you can succeed in your business, just do it. What kind of challenges you are facing? I think what is really important is that you have customers, clients who are really believing in your business. That's very important. If you're making a product which sounds really nice, but it's not very appealing to potential client, customer, it's gonna be difficult. When it comes to running a climate tech startup, it's all about to solve problems, to provide value to the clients and customers. That's very important.
Yeah, I
and at
really
the same
like.
time, before you start your business, it's also very important to check in what is the regulation. But I would not stress that is the only most important aspect. But it's good to keep in mind and what kind of country I would like to start with, and yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I really liked your point about the differences in culture, and it just made me think kind of what is it about the American culture or the European continental culture that makes like the first more creative and the latter maybe more stringent? Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So in Europe, it depends. Let's start with the Americans. They are very aggressive. They're really ambitious. They don't care what is going to happen. They really want to take risks because they have that culture to drop and to wake up again. It's the case they seem not to never give up. Just the culture in America, they really they're really big risk takers. This is something which you don't have very much in Europe. Of course, if you're a founder, you're taking risks, but it's not that they are aiming at very big goals. I'm not talking about everyone, but in general, in that some extent, maybe I might be mistaken, but this is so far what I've experienced so far, that they need to be more ambitious.
Yeah, maybe it's just the notion of the American dream that's so deeply embedded.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so in Germany, for example, this is very often the case that they want to do achieving goals in small steps. This might be work. This has worked, of course. But if you have a very big goals, it's much better, in my opinion. And then in time you can develop your own roadmap in order to achieve your big objective. So,
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I'll just have
also very important to mention that if you, for example, live in New York City, people are very impressed if you generate your first billion. But if you live in California or in San Francisco, they don't care how much revenue you have made. They only care about the fact how much impact you have made across the world. That's a huge difference. And in Europe, it's like we have a lot of challenges to face with the regulation system.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I would have perhaps the last question of this interview, and I would like to ask, how do you see the future of green entrepreneurship and how it's going to evolve in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'm very positive, to be honest. I've seen a big change in that space. There are more and more founders coming to us, or in general to VC, offering the solution they really want to make an impact by reducing, for example, the greenhouse gas emissions, or to remove plastic from the ocean. So I see there's a strong influx of founders with brilliant ideas. So I'm very happy about that, because I can tell you this is the next revolution we are going to face, because consumers are starting seeing, okay, it's getting crazy outside. We have more rain floods. We have crazy weather, extreme events happening across the world. We need more solution to apply in order to save us from climate disaster. So it's pretty good to see that, and I'm very happy that the whole economy start to transform the economy into the green energy sector. So to become more environmental friendly, more sustainable is so important. Unfortunately, it's still the pace I'm seeing here is still too slow. It could be much faster, but we have to start somewhere. And it's good to see that more capital is being deployed in that space. This is a very good, strong signal. So of course, at the same time, we need to keep in mind that the political situation across the world has changed to some extent. They became more aggressive, totalitarian, and then we have that issue with the Russian, Russia and Ukraine war, and the Chinese issues, and this is unfortunately not a good a moment for us if you really want to make a green energy transition to become happen. Yeah, that's the fun of the life. You cannot never see the future, but everyone is responsible for themselves to change their own environment. So, but in general, I'm very positive, and really looking forward to speaking with more founders offering a climate solution.
Yeah, a lot of potential in this space for sure.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for this interview. I think that's all from my side, unless you want to add something that we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah. So to all these people who have a disability, please never give up. Just be honest to your people. If you feel very bad, or you feel not very encouraged, please go to these people and ask for help, or at least explain to them your issues you are facing. Because if you offer them the chance what kind of a reality you're making every day, it will help change their perspective. And if or even if you want to speak with me, just reach out to me on LinkedIn, or Dominika can give you my email address, and please feel free to reach out to me. I'm also happy to guide you or give you some suggestions that might be of help. But in general, I really want to really stress: never give up. I know life, having a life with this disability is not very comfortable always, but if you are very motivated and keep fighting, you will see that everything will be fine. So
yeah,
that's
it's so
my
nice. Yeah,